Get the cream, precious metals or the crypto things. Your bars are light like the one that's on a Smith machine. But my Maxwell and I ain't speaking about the pretty wings. Watch it.
Smackdown, September 29th, 2023. No news and notes, really. So let's get right into the show. Should be a short one. A lot of wrestling on this show. A whole lot of wrestling. But we also got a whole lot of bloodline. So Jimmy Uso, Paul Heyman, and Solo Sikoa start the show. Heyman, of course, is cutting the promo. Basically letting us know that Cena isn't here. And that, Cena isn't going to have a tag team partner. Probably not going to be a match at Fastlane. Meanwhile, Jimmy Uso is standing in the middle. And he's got his hand out like Roman would have for the microphone, which Paul eventually gives it to him. And anyway, Jim said that John Cena was scared of him and that he was going to take him out just like he took out AJ Styles. Then both guys got attacked by Carl Anderson of the OC. Amazing. Who said that this is OC business now. It's personal. And Solo said that Jim needs to handle this or he's going to handle it for him. This led to Jimmy Uso defeating Carl Anderson in a very short match on television. After the match, they continued to fight. Carl Anderson got up and just continued fighting because, getting Uso splashed for a 3 count, well, that doesn't kill you. It ain't lethal. So he got up and he kept fighting, but then he got a Samoan spike from Solo Sikoa, which is basically lethal. At that point, that was the end of Carl Anderson's night. Jimmy Uso is bouncing around, extremely happy about what's going on here. Then until he runs into Michin, who, once he smacked him, he fell like Little Mac and Mike Tyson Punch-Out, and then continued to sell, staggering and trying to shake it off like he'd never been hit by another person in his life. Damn. It's like, what is going on? And then Paul and Solo are looking at him like he's a goof, because he is. Then they spend the rest of the night scraping people backstage. They jumped some poor guy in a red shirt, beat him up for no reason. Shanti Theodonis got put through a table for no reason. Just a whole bunch of people got bullied and beat up throughout the night. During the Charlotte Flair Bayley match, John Cena showed up in a Mustang, which I think is consistent. Last time I saw John Cena drive a car, I think it was a Mustang. It was on WrestleMania, I think it was. So he came out there. Long and the short of it says that he could rip up this contract or he could stand and fight. The guy who has "Don't Never Give Up" written over his chest, he's going to stand and fight. And even if he doesn't have a partner, he'll fight him alone at Fastlane. Jimmy Uso shows up, says that he doesn't got anybody, and they've been beating people up all night. If anybody teams up with Cena, he's going to beat them too. So he ain't going to make it to Fastlane. Of course, the fight scene occurs. LA Knight makes the save, fights off both Solo Sikoa and Jimmy Uso, hits Jimmy Uso with the big elbow drop. And what should have happened last week happened this week, but this is the funniest part. As he picks up the contract to sign it, John Cena absolutely oversells the idea of LA Knight signing that contract. You think John Cena hit the game-winning shot in the NBA Finals the way he was acting? You didn't think he kicked the game-winning field goal in the Super Bowl the way he was acting? You think he just won an Oscar the way he was acting? It was crazy. I thought John Cena was gonna cry. all LA Knight did was sign a contract and Cena put it super over. Crowd loved it. It probably would have been hotter last week when they, even though they did the same thing with the Bloodline, it probably would have been better last week. I think they had more heat last week, but this week was good too. Jimmy Uso still thinks he's Roman Reigns. He thinks he's him, and this is beautiful. It's funny because now he's got Solo doing all this stuff, and Heyman is calling Roman Reigns every week now. And Roman either ain't answering or just don't care because this has been going on forever. In fact, I think that Roman is not showing up again until mid-October. So, I think that's 2 weeks from now, right? He's showing up, I think October the 14th they said it was, or is that a house show? I forget. But he's supposed to be showing up in the later part of October, or in the mid to later part of October. At that point, Jimmy Uso would have run around for over a month trying to be Roman, and it's been entertaining because his version of being a tribal chief is just chaos. You know, there's no real mission to it. It's nothing. It's just, I want to beat somebody up, I'm going to do it. You know, it's an expression of power. So it's been very interesting. John Cena being back to help LA Knight get over, cool. You know, yeah, I'm pretty sure LA Knight appreciates it because it's a lot more than has been done for a lot of people. There's a lot of guys who ended up getting moved on to that main event who wish somebody would have came back to tag team with them or came back to wrestle them. So LA Knight is getting a really good rub here. Did this lead to Roman and LA Knight? Probably. You know, I wouldn't be surprised, and it wouldn't upset me. So if that's what we get at Crown Jewel, you know, you get LA Knight versus Roman Reigns, I think that's fine. You know, that's good. But this is fine. I don't know why Jimmy had to oversell getting slapped by Michin. I mean, I don't know. I have no idea. I don't know. She might as well tell him to go home and be a family man after that. All right, so Santos Escobar, he had a promo, talk about how he's focused, but also has a queasy stomach. Then he starts talking about his dreams, therefore I lost interest. I was like, oh no, dude, you're 40. Please don't talk about your dreams. I don't care about what is your dream to wrestle Rey Mysterio. I don't care about that, please, man. Sell me on you. Don't sell me your dreams. Ray got on the microphone and said LWO is his family, and he always expects the best from his opponents, and he always gives his best. So this was very cool. Dragon Lee was out there. He had actually been shown earlier. We'll get to that later, I guess. So Dragon Lee is at ringside. This is very important for the following bit of... You need that information to understand what's going on here. So Rey Mysterio and Santos Escobar have one hell of a match. A babyface versus babyface match. The finish comes with Rey Mysterio doing a counter in the Phantom Driver and into a roll-up for the pin. Really good spot. Santos Escobar did a really cool spot where he did a moonsault off a barricade, which I thought was pretty cool. Also, they did a flying head scissors from the top rope. Not a traditional Hurricanrana, but of course the effect is the same. I forget what Ray did. I think he tried to do the 619. Santos Escobar caught his legs. He tried to pick him up like an Alabama slam. Ray grabbed the top rope. So then Escobar turned facing Ray. Ray used his legs to also roll him into a head scissors again. And then did the 619, but he missed the frog splash. So it was a very cool exchange of moves here. After the match, Santos Escobar and Rey Mysterio was trying to shake his hand, show him some respect. Escobar was selling frustration. He was kind of hesitant on that handshake. He looks like he was going to do the handshake when he got jumped by the Street Profits. Now, the Street Profits, very interesting piece of business with these guys, because Lashley was on the Grayson Waller effect earlier in the night. So Lashley said that he made a mistake recruiting the Street Profits. You know, he said he thought they had enough pride to make it in this business, but he was wrong, and it's time to go back to the drawing board. So Grayson Waller pitched that Lashley should sponsor himself and Austin Theory, but Lashley said, nah, I'm too familiar with Austin Theory. I'm going to pass on that. Of course, going back to their rivalry. So people have memories all of a sudden in WWE. That's one positive about the Triple H era. People actually remember things that happened that wasn't that long ago. Since Austin Theory and Lashley has had like 100 matches against each other, he knows what kind of scumbag Austin Theory is. He doesn't want to be bothered with him. That's good. At this point, the Street Profits come out to confront Lashley, or at least talk to him. He says he doesn't want to hear any excuses, or he doesn't want to hear any reasons. If they want something out of him, they have to show him something. He has to see what they can do, and he only wants to see proof. So then Austin Theory came out there. They keep calling him the 150 million hit man because of his segment with The Rock. At some point, he got into it with Dragon Lee. Now, he and Dragon Lee started exchanging words because WWE had a video package for Dragon Lee, and Austin Theory was like, hey, I never got a video package. What's that about? So the two of them started jawing back and forth. There's no big deal. Austin Theory ended up beating Cameron Grimes. So Cameron Grimes made an appearance, if you were wondering where he was. I know I wasn't. So anyway, Austin Theory went and got in the face of Dragon Lee at this point. He shoved him, and then they were immediately separated by officials. Dragon Lee will wrestle Austin Theory next week on SmackDown. I like that. I wish they would have saved it, but all right, fine. Now, all of that is to say this. This is why the Street Profits attacked Rey Mysterio and Santos Escobar, to show their killer instinct. So Lashley is very excited about this. He's applauding. He's like, okay, you guys are finally showing something. Dragon Lee is pissed off about the LWO getting their asses kicked. He's trying to jump the barricade. It's not happening. So then Cruz, Del Toro, and Joaquin Wilde come out there. They both get smashed too by the Street Profits and Lashley. Then we go backstage with the Rey Mysterio and Santos Escobar. Well, Santos Escobar cut his promo almost completely in Spanish, so I didn't understand nothing he said. I really didn't want to hear from him anyway, if we're being honest. But Rey ended up challenging Lashley and the Street Profits to a match at Fastlane. Now, initially, I was like, 3-on-3, huh? So, what was it going to be? Rey, Santos Escobar, and Cruz Del Toro? Oh, that's a SmackDown match if I ever heard one. But then I was like, now it makes sense why Dragon Lee was there. Dragon Lee is going to be the third member of this team. So this is good. No doubt there's going to be some shenanigans next week with Dragon Lee and Austin Theory. And the LWO is going to come out there and probably recruit him into being on their brand or on their side. But it seems like they're bringing Dragon Lee up already. He's been on Raw, and now he's on SmackDown. He's being integrated into SmackDown. You know, getting into a thing with Austin Theory, getting into it with the Street Profits and Lashley. They didn't waste any time, integrating him into storylines on this show. Now, do I like the idea of we're going to put it with the LWO? No, because you already have a guy with a mask in LWO, and he needs to be on his own. He needs to be defined on his own. I understand it's cheap, it's easy. Just put the Latino guy with all the Latino guys, but you don't want people to see him as Rey Mysterio Jr. That's always going to be the issue, right? He needs to come across as being an individual first, and they need to care about him individually. And then, you could put him in partnerships and factions and stuff like this. Because look at what happened with Santos Escobar when they put him in the LWO. He lost all of his individuality. He became Rey Mysterio's little buddy, and that sucks. I don't want that to become Dragon Lee's future, is that now all of a sudden he becomes Rey's little buddy. Now, it could be interesting, just kind of as a head canon or a head booking or, fantasy booking, is that Dragon Lee joins the LWO and sort of replaces Santos Escobar as Rey's protege. And then that causes a schism between everybody that forces Santos and his portion of the LWO to leave. That could happen, because they are teasing that Santos is less than thrilled to have lost to Rey. And he didn't actually shake his hand, but everybody assumes he was going to. But you know what happened when you assume, right? But I like that Dragon Lee has been put on the show. I like that Dragon Lee has been integrated into the show. I'm just not thrilled about the idea of him being another goober in an LWO shirt. We've seen enough of those guys. But Rey Mysterio versus Santos Escobar is really good. Lashley and the Street Profits, really good stuff. Lashley is basically blackmailing these guys. Like, hey, if you like the finer things in life, you gotta show me something. Prove to me that you guys are worthy of my sponsorship. I like that too. I just wish that there was something higher for Lashley to fight for than his 9th United States title, which is like, ugh. And then also he's too huge and monstrous to be a manager. He's bigger than both of the Street Profits. Like, Montez Ford would have to sit on D'Angelo Dawkins' shoulders to be bigger than Lashley. And these guys are going to be the two guys that he's managing. I don't know about that. If we can come up with like a creative explanation about what he does, that's not manager, advisor, or something like that. That's why I use the word sponsor. Maybe, that's it. Maybe he's just a sponsor and he's going to continue to wrestle, but he hasn't wrestled a match in forever, But so he's going to wrestle at Fastlane, apparently. That's going to be good. And the idea that Street Profits and Lashley versus Dragon Lee, Santos Escobar, and Rey Mysterio, I like that idea. It seems that Triple H is going to the Tony Khan school of booking by having that crazy 6-man tag not on TV but on the pay-per-view while giving away Rey Mysterio and Santos Escobar on TV. That's definitely from the Tony Khan school of booking. Absolutely. I ain't say it was bad. I'm just saying it comes from the Tony Khan school of booking. All right. They did a segment for Jade Cargill in which she got called a game changer by Corey Graves. They're really pushing this Jade Cargill thing. They're pushing it hard. All right. What brand are they going to put her on? That's going to be my question. I would suggest, I know everybody says put her on NXT first. I don't think they're going to do that. I think they're going to put her on the main roster first. I wouldn't put her on SmackDown because, Bianca's going to return on SmackDown, so I wouldn't do that. Probably put her on Raw. You don't want people who are so similar being on one brand. It just doesn't make sense. That's why I'm kind of iffy about Dragon Lee being on SmackDown with Rey Mysterio already on SmackDown. You don't want people comparing the two characters that they see on the same show. If you put them on separate shows, at least there's some level of individuality between the two. You put them on the same show, people are going to be like, oh, this is basically the same character, basically the same person. You don't want that. But Jade Cargill is getting a hell of a push, and I'm here for it, as the hood rats say. I'm here for it. Anyway, Charlotte versus Bayley, an abbreviated match between the two. It seemed to never really get started before Bayley loses to a spear. It was absolutely stupid. It was probably one of the worst Bayley and Charlotte matches in history. Charlotte before the match says that Bayley is happy being on the sidelines, that she's a stepping stone. And once she wins, she's going to fight Io at Fastlane. So then she, of course, won because Bayley, I don't know, she fell asleep at the wheel? I don't know. I would imagine something got called in the ring that maybe they were overtime. Somebody went overtime earlier in the night and they needed this extra time. So they took it from this match because this match was very, very short. It was abbreviated for sure. Anyway, after the match, Bayley says that they're going to end Charlotte Flair. They're going to jump her, and they did. So Asuka ended up running out there. She's wearing a beautiful mink coat. At least I think that was mink. It might have been chinchilla. I don't know. I don't know nothing about animals. I'm not an animal guy. I'm not Steve Irwin. All right. So she gets on the microphone. She starts screaming in Japanese. Nobody understands what she's saying except Io. So then Bayley is like, oh, look, you want a triple threat match at Fastlane? Okay, we'll do that. And then Io, in pretty damn clear English, says, that's not what she said. And Bayley was like, oh, yes, she did. Don't worry about it. That was the clearest English sentence I've heard Io say in a really long time. She was like, that's not what she said. I was like, damn, she sounded like she went to school in the Bronx or something like that. Anyway, triple threat match, not my favorite. I know everybody's kind of aggy about the whole Charlotte being in the title picture thing, which is always the case. It would be lovely if they actually did something with Charlotte other than put her in the title picture. But they just did Io versus Asuka. They just did this. And it ended in shenanigans because of damage control. And I don't know if we actually going to get... Why wouldn't you have Charlotte versus Io? Straight up though. Like, why wouldn't you do that? Is there a reason why you wouldn't? I don't know. But triple threat match, not my favorite. Really not my favorite. Also, didn't care for this match. Abbreviated, not so good. All right, the final segment we got here is pretty deadly. Elton Prince, he couldn't walk. He couldn't tag. He couldn't hit people with chairs. He couldn't eye poke. He couldn't do anything because of his injury. But over time, he learned. He learned to tag again. He learned to hit people with chairs again. He learned to poke eyes again. He learned to walk again. And it was very over the top with him in a wheelchair, rolling down the hills of like San Francisco in a wheelchair. It was ridiculous. It was very over the top in terms of their character work. But I wish they had been doing these things the entire time rather than just doing them now. But whatever. Now Pretty Deadly is back, and the Brawling Brutes were watching this and talking about how they wish they had broken their fingers or snapped their legs and all this kind of crazy stuff. And we need to get rid of that Butch guy. How much do you think I could pay Triple H to get rid of Butch? You think $10 would do it? You think if I called Triple H and said, how about I cash app you $15 to not put Butch on TV? Would you think he would take it? I don't know. I don't think $15 is enough. But that's all I can spare right now. That's all I can spare. Anyway, SmackDown, decent show. Didn't hate it. Good, really good match that had a lot of time behind it between Rey and Santos Escobar. Charlotte and Bayley, we've seen them wrestle before. Unfortunately, this was disappointing, mainly because they probably had something else on the show go along, which I would imagine was probably the opening promo, which it almost always is. Or Rey and Escobar went long. There's no telling. But Cameron Grimes and Austin Theory was longer than it probably should have been. Cameron Grimes is just going to pop up, job, and leave. All right, fine. I'm loving Austin Theory and Grayson Waller as a tag team. I'm loving them as partners, as homeboys, as brethren. I love it because it was my idea. Yeah, I wish I could take 100% credit for it, but I know nobody heard me talk about it. It's just something that I've been talking about a lot. Of course, LA Knight being John Cena's partner is welcome. It was it's fantastic, actually. I don't know why Cena had to sell it like, he's getting married, but like she said yes. Like they just got engaged or something like that. He's like, oh my God, I can't believe it. Like, what is going on? Like, relax. Please relax. So it felt, the show actually breezed by. It was an easy watch because there's so much storyline element wrapped into it. Only 4 matches on the show, 2 of which were short. One of which was really long, and the other one was kind of medium, I guess you could say. So I think that's probably a good flow for the show. Probably not enough John Cena for some people, but I was cool with John Cena's approach in this match to what he was doing. But so I think it was mostly a fairly good episode of SmackDown. What say you? Let me know in the comment section below. As always, like, share, subscribe. I'll talk to you guys later. Peace out, y'all.
Tell me what's worse than learning all that you led to believe was all horse crap. They distort, so question as